Welcome to the Today's Leader podcast. Building tomorrow's best leaders, today.
Way to go, guys. Way to go. Keep it going. Good job, guys. All right, Paul. I see you. All right, John. Finish on. Coach Carl. Great job, guys.
Hey there, it's Coach Curl here, and welcome to episode 350 of the Today's Leader podcast. We're building tomorrow's best leaders today, truly building a leadership revolution for better leaders. Now, today's episode is a Q&A episode. We've been receiving a lot of questions from both personal clients of mine and listeners from right around the world around this constant and prominent theme called the Great Resignation. And in all honesty, this widespread phenomenon appears to be gathering ground. And many leaders have sought out how best that they can be dealing with this. Now, in many ways, we're seeing almost a perfect tsunami for business. We've got the Great Resignation. There's employment shortages that we are certainly aware of. There is a lack of will in many cases or many industries, and a lack of desire for people to work in those industries, which is an absolute shame, but we're seeing that. And of more critical note, in many industries, we're seeing a skills shortage. And this is particularly true, say, in the IT and the digital space. We are truly seeing a skills shortage. There are certainly plenty of jobs and skilled employment opportunities available, but we're seeing an actual skills shortage in those particular areas. And this is causing great pain for business. We know that. Business leaders are a bit frustrated about many things that are happening in the world today, but they're really focusing in on those frustrations in around the Great Resignation, employment shortages, and of course the skills shortage. But firstly, let's just look at the Great Resignation. Now, I'm going to share some stats and some insights from a Harvard Business Review article, and I'm going to include the link to that article in the show notes, of course. Now, direct from the article, according to the US Bureau of Labor Statistics, 4 million Americans quit their jobs in July 2021. Now, I'm using United States statistics. They're a lot more readily available than what we can currently see here in Australia. Resignations peaked in April and have remained abnormally high for the last several months, with a record-breaking 10.9 million open jobs at the end of July. Now, that's pretty scary. In a country of America, 4 million Americans quit their jobs in July 2021. And what they've gone on to find is that resignation rates are the highest amongst mid-career employees. Now, employees between 30 and 45 years of age have had the greatest increase in resignation rates, with an average increase of more than 20% between 2020 and 2021. While turnover is typically highest amongst younger employees, our study found, and this is from the article, found that over the last year, resignations actually decreased for workers in the 20 to 25 age range. Decreased. Likely due to a combination of their greater financial uncertainty and reduced demand for entry-level workers. Now, interestingly, resignation rates also fell for those in the 60 to 70 age group, while employees in the 25 to 30 and 45 plus age groups experienced slightly higher resignation rates than in 2020. But not as significant as the increase that we saw in the 30 to 45-year-old group. And as we said, that was 20% increase within that particular group. Now, the article from Harvard Business Review also noted that resignations are highest in the tech and the healthcare industry. So we are seeing what we may call in many cases a dual-paced or multi-paced economies at play here. So high tech and healthcare have been the real areas of hurt. They've identified dramatic increases or differences in turnover rates between companies in different industries. Now, resignations actually decreased in some industries, and those industries such as manufacturing and finance. But what they have found is that 3.6% more healthcare employees quit their jobs than in the previous year. And in tech, resignations increased by 4.5%. So in general, they found that resignation rates were higher amongst employees who worked in fields that had experienced extreme increases in demand due to the pandemic, likely leading to increased workloads and burnout. So that's an understandable conclusion that you can draw from for reasons in and around the Great Resignation of what we're seeing. Interestingly enough, then we are now going to see potentially the increased resignation or turnover rate in relation to things like vaccine mandates. So it's going to be interesting to see how that one plays out. But the important thing here to consider is that many leaders are just simplifying this and saying people just don't want to come back to the office. People don't want to come back to, working in the structured environment. But it's so much more than the work from home scenario that many have simplistically painted. There's probably validity in that, but by the same token, we're also seeing that it's more prevalent in certain industries, more prevalent in certain age groups. And we really need to be diving in to actually understand that a little bit more. But fundamentally, it's real. So pandemic policies are creating uncertainty and creating an environment where people are actually reviewing where they are in life, their current status, their current satisfaction with where they are, and actually trying to tune that into what they really want. But also, right around the world, there's fear in relation to the pandemic and the health issues, and of course, I won't even go into things like division around political beliefs and ideals. But the fear is also leading to people wanting more. Maybe it's that realization that life is short, and really they need to get going if they truly want to experience the life that they want. But it's important to understand why. So leaders must take the time to evaluate things like their culture and their environment and look to alleviate some of the reasons behind the Great Resignation. Now, many organizations and many businesses tell me that they run things like exit interviews, and that's fantastic, great stuff. But often in an exit interview, because an employee doesn't want to burn their bridges or doesn't want to, leave on ill note, you may not necessarily be getting the feedback that you really need to be getting. So you need to be mindful of that. But you also need to be 100% confident that you want to know the reason. Why are people leaving your organization? Why are people leaving your industry? And so that's one of the key things for leaders to first up look at. Why are they leaving, and what has it really got to do with our culture and our environment? The other thing that I want leaders to be thinking about is that people want to be aligned with something greater than themselves. It's no longer sufficient, satisfactory for a person to have a 9-to-5 routine role. They really want to align it to something that's greater than themselves. So how a leader can create that alignment on, let's face it, there are a lot of routine, mundane roles, 9 to 5. How a leader can encapsulate that purpose for people is going to be something of intention and something that's going to inspire inspiration and motivation amongst their teams. So people do want to be aligned with something greater than themselves. They want purpose, and it's a leader's role to discover that. So when we start to think about the reasons behind the Great Resignation, stress, burnout, purpose, right? And of course, we've got that added thing of work from home. There are many people that are really comfortable working from home, really productive working from home, and then we've got a lot of organisations that are now saying, hey, it's time to come back in. So that's going to play a part, but it's not the only part. But what is it that's available for you to build better for your business? And I really don't like using the word build better, but ultimately that's what we're wanting to do, isn't it? Because we need to have a culture and environment that people want to be part of. That's one of the first things a leader needs to be asking themselves, is our environment, is our culture something that people want to be part of? Now, some of the advice that's been provided by experts is that first up, we need to find what the true cost is in and around the problem. So in some cases, having initially the Great Resignation, if it's occurring within your business, may actually see some positive results. The Great Resignation may indeed be some of those people that you may benefit from losing. But it's important to understand what the true cost is. So whether it's an initial reduction in expenses, for example, what sort of long-term impact is that going to have on your income or your revenue? So it's really important to understand it. What sort of impact does having less people on your line mean for quality? What sort of, you need to quantify the problem. What does the problem look like from a cost point of view? Then we have to look at what is the root cause. So what is the fundamental reason why they're leaving? We cannot make assumptions around that. We need to be finding out what the root cause is. And if you've got bad eggs as leaders in your organization, which people are suddenly saying, well, I don't need to put up with that, you need to flush that out. You've got to flush out the fundamental reason that people are leaving. And that's got to form part then of developing a tailored retention program for your people. Developing a tailored retention program for your people, including the need to have better leaders, right? Including the need to have that leadership revolution of better leaders that are leading for their people and as such then leading for the organization, because the outcomes that you get from people are far greater. So developing a retention program that incorporates the balance or the alignment that people have, the purpose that people may have in their roles. Of course, we're going to be looking at things like the work from home balance. We're going to be looking at things like what sort of leave can be made available. And importantly, people want to be developed. That is something that a lot of people talk about. People do want to be developed. So how do we continue to develop our people? But that is part of the program that a leader must be going through. What does our tailored retention program look like? And it's a multifaceted problem. It's not going to be solved easy, but it really does mean that we need a concerted effort and an approach from leaders at every level, but especially the senior leaders of the business. It's not going to go away. And a senior leader believing the problem rests at another level will never own the problem, because honestly, you have to own the problem to resolve the problem. So now, but what I want to also share, so from an organizational perspective, it really does mean that you need to own the problem, develop your plan, and resolve it. It's a long-term fix. It's not a short-term solution. But for an individual leader looking to make a bit of a quantum leap in their career progression, the Great Resignation may provide the best opportunity, an incredible opportunity for you. And I really want you to think about this, because the Great Resignation is happening. And if it's happening in your organization, and if it's happening with people in that particular age group or higher that are holding positions that are higher than yours, this is an incredible opportunity. This is an incredible opportunity. But one of the things I want you to really dispel from your mind now, you cannot approach this opportunity that it's going to happen, that it's a given. You cannot approach this opportunity as last man standing. I'm the only one here. I deserve to move into a more senior role. You cannot approach this opportunity as I've been here the longest, or a seniority mindset. The mindset here must be about service and leadership and what that ultimately means to you and your organization. So what I want you to be thinking about, if you are an individual leader that's willing to accept the opportunity to make this quantum leap while the Great Resignation is happening, take the time to accept new challenges, right? And as we know, challenges are often presented to us as problems, and we react accordingly. But I want you to think about, how can I accept new challenges in my role? How do I continue, or how do I start developing and growing myself, wherever you are in your growth journey? understanding your strengths, understanding your weaknesses, and really developing and being intentional about that development. What is it that I need to do the role that I aspire to be? So that whole concept of acting as if you are already in the role is one that can really benefit you when it comes to growing yourself. You've really got to understand what are the requirements. You've got to get uncomfortable. Absolutely. You're not going to be taking a quantum leap in your career if you're comfortable where you are and comfortable staying where you are. You have to get uncomfortable, and you've got to have the approach that you're there to serve others, because that's important. You've got to serve others. You've really got to be mindful around this whole process. Leadership and service is what's going to give you that opportunity. And let's be very sure about this. May be a once in a lifetime opportunity to take a quantum leap into a higher position. And I'm potentially not just talking about the next position up for you, because the Great Resignation is happening. It may be 2, it may be 3 steps above. You've got to be prepared. You've got to be ready. You've got to challenge yourself, and you've got to get uncomfortable. Don't waste this opportunity by using your energy in negative ways. Focus on what's needed, deliver new growth for yourself and the company, and potentially you will reap the rewards by being intentional in this leadership approach. And of course, if there's anything that Think and Grow Business or Today's Leader can do for you, please reach out and we'll be happy to support and help that growth perspective. Remember, if you're looking to build better leadership skills, check out the Today's Leader website at todaysleader.com.au. We're building tomorrow's best leaders today. Truly a leadership revolution. We're a collective mindset to forge greater success tomorrow. The mindset to make a difference, the ability to create an impact. Think and Grow Business, of course, hosts our Today's Leader Masterminds. Think and Grow Business, where we focus on personal, professional, and business growth. Book your free 30-minute discovery call at thinkandgrowbusiness.com.au. You are standing stronger, braver, and wiser. Don't forget the golden rule. Don't be an arsehole. Thanks for tuning in. Until next week, we will see you then. Bye for now.
The podcast is brought to you by Think and Grow Business, the home of the Think and Grow Business Mastermind. If you're serious about growing your business, get serious and join a mastermind group today. Find out more at thinkandgrowbusiness.com.au.